On Tuesday, the NBA announced their penalties for Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Mercury owner Robert Sarver. He's going to get a $10 million fine and a 1-year suspension in the wake of an ESPN story that was first published in November of 2021, detailing allegations of all types of racism and misogyny during Sarver's 17 years as an owner. If you have not had a chance to read the article, I'll kind of brief it here in about 1 minute's time. Robert Sarver has been accused of everything under the sun, no pun intended. I mean, there are countless examples of black employees, whether they were assistant coaches, head coaches, trainers, players, pretty much detailing incidents or situations in which they were having some type of communication with Robert and they felt uncomfortable. There was even a story where Robert Sarver apparently was courtside watching his son's team play the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green was apparently using the N-word. It was Robert Sarver who then decided to take it to the locker room, and he asked members of the team, why can Draymond say N-word, right? And he obviously said it multiple times, and I read about 6 different occasions in which Robert Sarver used the N-words. These are totally different scenarios. So clearly he's a guy that uses the N-word. There are some examples in which apparently Robert Sarver showed off one of his girlfriends many, many years ago, pretty much showed porn to his staff of his own girlfriend in some type of meeting. There are other examples. I mean, misogyny. Women feel uncomfortable by the masses, apparently in Robert Sarver's presence throughout his tenure as the Suns owner. If you have a chance to read the article, you can break down and just kind of look at what exactly Robert Sarver has been accused of. A lot of this stuff he has denied. To be fair, there are people within that Suns organization, including VP James Jones, who did come to his defense. But overall, it seems to be the common thread here. Robert Sarver, the Phoenix Suns and Mercury owner, is a powerful man, a rich man that believes he can do or say anything to people because he is Robert Sarver. LeBron James reacted to this same article on his social media account. He said, I read through the Sarver stories a few times now, and I got to be honest, our league definitely got this one wrong. I don't need to explain why. Y'all read the stories and decide for yourself. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. There is no place in this league for that kind of behavior. I love this league, and I deeply respect our leadership, but this isn't right. There is no place for misogyny, sexism, and racism in any workplace. Don't matter if it's the team you own or play for. We hold our league up as an example of our values, and this ain't it. How about the point guard of the Phoenix Suns currently, Chris Paul, who, as many of you know, obviously dealt with some of this in the past when he was a member of the Los Angeles Clippers with their owner, Donald Sterling. He had this to say about Robert Sarver. CP3 said, like many others, I reviewed the report. I was and am horrified and disappointed by what I read. This conduct, especially towards women, is unacceptable and must never be repeated. I am of the view that the sanctions fell short in truly addressing what we can all agree was atrocious behavior. My heart goes out to all of the people that were affected. How about the commissioner of the league, Adam Silver? He did a presser addressing the league's decision to suspend Robert Sarver for 1 year. He said, I have certain authority by virtue of this organization, and that's what I exercise. I do not have the right to take away Robert Sarver's team. I don't want to rest that on a legal point because, of course, there could be a process to take away someone's team in the league. It's very involved, and I ultimately made a decision that it didn't rise to that level. But to me, the consequences are severe here on Mr. Sarver. So I remember back when the Donald Sterling audio leak. For those who don't remember, Donald Sterling was the Clippers owner, a very cheap owner. Donald Sterling got caught on an audio taping with his side chick, who I'm assuming maybe they were about to break up. I don't know what the relationship was at that time. But Donald Sterling said some very negative things about black people sitting courtside at his games. I'm being very nice in the way I'm putting that because this is a professional piece that I believe is going to be viewed by a lot of people in a lot of different outlets. So I'm trying to keep my words to a bare minimum because deep down, I really want to go off about some of these things that I'm reading. Donald Sterling ended up losing his team. If you remember correctly, it got to the point, especially where our country was at that time, and obviously a lot of those things still remain true about our country, but at that time, the landscape of our country was very sensitive to race issues. We were in some very troubling times. Donald Sterling lost his team pretty much because players said they can't do this. There were people on the Clippers team that were like, yo, I can't play for this guy. This dude clearly don't like black people. Players against the Clippers were like, yo, I'm not playing against this team. I don't want to be a part of what he's a part of. Adam Silver backed the other 29 owners into a corner, and that's when Donald Sterling ended up getting voted out. Okay, here's where we are with Robert Sarver, the Suns owner. What I read, in my estimations, is way worse than what Donald Sterling got caught doing years ago. Be clear, there were many stories about Donald Sterling's past, right? There are clearly many, many stories about Robert Sarver's past and his present. He's continuously doing these things. Go read the story from ESPN. It is a great piece. It details countless examples of Robert Sarver not being a good person. And I guess where I land is if Donald Sterling lost his team, there is no question Robert Sarver, on pure principle alone, should lose his team. But here's where we get to the problem. Unless the players are going to take as hard of a stance with this Sarver situation as they did the Sterling situation, meaning we're not playing until he's removed from the league, the way the NBA is constructed, like Adam Silver said, he doesn't have the authorization to remove Robert Sarver. I remember when the Donald Sterling situation happened, I remember telling my friends, though I believe Donald Sterling needs to get removed from the league, the NBA's got to be really careful how they do this because the precedent has been set. I remember saying that then, and it stands true today. Anybody with eyes that doesn't follow this stuff closely is going to say, yo, if they got Donald Sterling removed for some audio, then Robert Sarver, the way that he's treated black employees, my other minorities, women, people that he deemed to just be lower than him on the totem pole, which is most of the world. He's a very rich man. If he doesn't get fired for what he's doing, then Donald Sterling should still have his team. If I'm the Donald Sterling's team, right? And that gentleman's still alive, by the way. So I think the principles and the precedent seems inconsistent with the NBA, its players, their PA. In theory, you'd think if they were upset at what came out about Donald Sterling, and obviously there being audio made it even worse, then in theory, you'd think the players, the league, the owners of the league, the commissioner, Adam Silver, there should be even more animus. There should be even more negativity. There should be even more hatred and literally putting your foot down and getting that guy removed from the league as well. And that's kind of where I stand. I'm happy LeBron James made a statement. I'm happy that Chris Paul made a statement. These are a couple of the faces of the league. LeBron's the most popular athlete we've seen in the last 15, 20 years. The fact that he didn't just let it slide, because it is in his best interest to ignore things like this if he's in the business of making money. If in the best interest of LeBron's personal brand, it's not in the best interest for him to get involved in issues like this because he doesn't play for that team. He cares about the league. He cares about the people that work for this league. And again, we see another example of LeBron putting it all on the line, saying, bro, I don't care how rich I am. This league looks to me as the face. And when I see something wrong, when I see minorities being treated wrong, when I see employees being treated wrong, when I see women being disrespected where they work, I'm going to step up and make a statement. I respect LeBron. I respect Chris Paul. And I hope it leads to the players once again showing their power that they do have. No other sport's got the power that the NBA athletes possess. And say, you know what, Robert? We ain't playing again until you get up out of office. You got to roll. And as I make this video, a minority owner for the Suns literally just released a statement saying that Robert Sarver has to go. So we will see where this goes. He's been suspended for a year, fined $10 million. We will see if this ends up with him never being the owner of the Phoenix Suns and Mercury again.